us. And we try so hard to fix everybody else. As though we didn't get that message yet. Fixing husband, fixing children, fixing everybody else so that things can be nice for us. But we may not be able to control what happens around us, but you could control what? Your response to what's happening. You can control your response to what's happening. And we come back to that bold statement I made at the beginning. I create my world with my choices and responses. I create my world with the choices and responses I make, because every choice has a consequence. Can you see how you're creating your world with the choices you're making? Give me an example of somebody creating their world with the choices they're making.
If they steal it,
Right. Right. If you're stealing, the consequences of that is getting caught. And then if you're getting caught over and over, you might very well end up where? In jail. And therefore when you end up there, you can't say, it's my brother who make me steal, and blame everybody. You have to take responsibility, because your responsibility, you use that to make the wrong choices in your life. So you're always creating your world with the choices you make. What about those people who decide they're going to skip class? This particular teacher, I don't like this teacher, so I'm going to skip class every time. Are you creating your world there? Yes, you're creating your world, because when you get a 0 at the end of the term, or they tell you drop the subject, you can't sit it for CXC. You can't blame the teacher and say the teacher didn't like you. You made your choices, and these are the consequences. So I want you to remember, read that statement on the slide there.
remember, no one can control you.
Let me hear that again.
Remember, no one can control you.
You are responsible for your choices, and you're responsible for the choices that you make. Now we're going to do an activity here. So 3 different ways. Write that in now for me. Option 1, I could do this. Option 2, I could choose to do that. And option 3, I could choose to do. Talk to the teacher after class about the whole situation. Tell her how you feel. Good. What are the options? Ignore. So that's the same as do nothing. What you would do? Get upset and leave the class. Yes, that's another way. Any other options?
Talk to the principal.
Talk to the principal about it. Right, confront Miss in front of the class. And tell her she should be bigger than that. All those are responses that you can choose. Remember, we say you have the power of choice. But you know that you're going to be making those choices based on what? Consequences. That's why this one say, I must wash the dishes in my house, because she knew the consequences and she made a choice. I will comply. There are some children who say, I don't care how many times they tell me to wash the dishes, I am washing it. They're making a choice. And they make a choice, I don't care if I get licks. So, let's go in column 2 now. When you wrote in number 1 option, I want you to tell me what is the consequence of you doing nothing. So Give me a negative consequence and give me a positive consequence for your number one response. When you say you're going to storm out the class, what is the negative consequence of that, or the positive consequence? So you're giving me two consequences of one response, of the three responses. So now you will have 6 consequences coming out of your 3 responses. If you don't understand, put your hand up. And by consequences, we mean what is likely to happen as a result of you responding in that way. Then remember, we're working with this scenario where your teacher seems to be always picking on you, and she insulted you and embarrassed you in front of the class, and all the students laughed at you, and you have an option to insult the teacher back in front of the class. And for those of you who are working, you can change that situation to your boss embarrassing you and insulting you in front of your other co-workers. Any one of your responses, one of your 3 responses.
Alright, my third response was to confront the teacher in front of the class, right? And tell her she should have known better.
Right.
So the negative consequence of that is that she thinks I'm disrespectful, so she takes me to the principal.
Right.
And the positive is that she feels bad about what I said to her in front of the class, apologizes, and stops with immediate effect.
Okay. Right, you see how much power you have? Let me hear from the young man here. Give me a response and give me your positive and negative consequence.
My response was to ignore. Yeah. My response was to ignore her, and well, one of the negative